Wait, let me explain. Okay, I know this isn't the UFC, but I'm gonna do it anyway. It's most valuable promotions MMA one, MVP MMA one. Uh, it's actually not a bad card. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not a bad card. I digest. Okay, so the reason it's not too bad is because up here on the main card, is the fighters we recognise. Ronda Rousey, Gina Carano, Nate Diaz, Mike Perry, Francis Ngannou, Philip Lins, I guess. One of the only guys, to be fair, outside of the UFC who's probably all right. I don't know why. I suppose, yeah, well, I do know why we're feeding Ngannou something. We're feeding Ngannou. Anyway, these guys regionals, but they are replacing a different fight that fell out, which was Muhammad Mokaev versus Adrian Moraes, if I could say his name. Basically, the main card is how we're getting people to tune in. The main card is how we're getting people to like turn up and watch the event. But down here is actually the important thing, and this is the roster building. So MVP is currently building a roster, and don't get me wrong, some of these guys, I don't know whether they're one fight deals or what, but Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano, I don't know if they're exclusive now because they've signed with MVP, but yeah, we're kind of trying to build a roster. I don't know if Nate Diaz would be under contract now, or Mike Perry, to be fair, because he's got BKFC to go back to. So I don't know whether these guys are now under exclusivity laws or what, or deals or whatnot. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. So we'll start off. First fight tonight, Chris Alvia versus Brandon Jenkins. All these guys are like regional talents, as you can see. He's ranked 27th in the US, in the west of the US. But Brandon Jenkins was once in the UFC a long time ago. I feel like 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. He was in the UFC. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, he got chinned by Doc Close and Rong Jun. That way predates my YouTube channel. But that's fine. It's fine because I was still watching back then. So it's all good. We know things. We have a wealth of knowledge that goes beyond this channel and this noodle. Yeah. Versus Chris Alvia, who is, a regional talent. He's probably a hometown hero in Stockton, California. To be fair, it's probably one of Nate Diaz's boys that he's just gotten thrown on the card. Looking after his homies. But yeah, so it's a tough one. I lean towards Brandon Jenkins. I understand that there's a lot of red on this record, and that's not good. And also, like, what promotion is that? And he lost in it. But either way, yeah, Iowa, Northern Iowa fights, man. Like, we're just scooping some guys up. Um, but yeah, we lean towards. No, you know what? I'm going with Brandon Jenkins. I feel like Brandon Jenkins is going to be like more well-rounded, even though they're both kind of trash. But this is what I'm saying about them building a roster, is that you need to get some trash guys in, like Chris Alvia, like Brandon Jenkins, okay? UFC washouts, never made it, and a fucking 8 and 9, you get me? Like 16 and 11. We need to scoop up some of these guys that have been around a little while, okay? Because they're gonna like help us build names, okay? Because then you get someone who's good, like someone like, oh yeah, we can build this guy into a star. Give him Brandon Jenkins. That's another win on his record, nice and easy. This is how you build a roster right here. You get some crap guys, you keep the best of the crap guys, and you feed them to your big stars. And that's how you build them. But yeah, so this is what this whole undercard is about. This whole undercard is about getting some guys on the MVP payroll, I think. Shame to see Muhammad Mokaev did get injured. I was looking forward to this fight, but that's alright. Oh, visa issues? Never mind. Not even an injury, just visa issues. I must have seen the thing. I hadn't seen about that, but I'm very disappointed because Muhammad Mokaev is probably one of the better guys in the UFC. When he got kicked out for just being an asshole. Like, he won the fight against Manel Kape. He's just an asshole, so he got kicked out. Anyway, not the point. We're gonna go with Brandon Jenkins. I think he might be the dog. Nah, he's not. Yeah, decision. More experience and a better wealth. He's been to the UFC. I know he's not won in the UFC, but he's been to the UFC. In fact, he might even have wins in the UFC. Should we check? Should we check how many wins in the UFC he's got? No, he hasn't got any wins in the UFC. He's been to the UFC. He's been to the UFC. He's been there. He's been in the big octagon one time. Two times. He's been beaten in the big octagon 2 times. That's way more experience than Chris Alvia. So we're going to go with Brandon Jenkins. Next up is probably the most famous person on the undercard. Ardeline Pereira versus Jade Mason Wong. As we know, Ardeline Pereira is the sister of Alex Pereira. Yeah. Been around the LFA for a little bit, you know. So. And now she's been scooped up onto this card. Heavy favourite. Who should be matched up against? Yeah, seems to be a striker. See, I'm not too familiar with Jade Mason Wong. We're just going to be going off the Tapology for most of these predictions. But I feel like we're feeding Pereira a win. We want to keep Pereira on the payroll. You know, we want to keep her on the payroll. So definitely one that they want to keep. You know, having the female Pereira is probably a good thing for marketing, even though she isn't as good as the brother. I mean, not yet. I don't know. You know, how long has she been doing it for? How old is she? To be fair, how old is she? 35. You know, it's not like she's young. To be fair, but it's a recognizable name. Good bit of talent. That's ridiculous. There's no way. I don't believe it. I don't know. No, she's not. She's not gonna. What? Because she was getting finishes in karate combat? No, I don't think she's gonna get a finish in an MMA fight, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think she's gonna get a finish in an MMA fight. But she's doing alright in karate combat. She was doing okay in karate combat. But no, I don't think she's gonna. I don't think she's gonna knock out. No, I don't think she's gonna get the knockout. I think it's gonna be a decision win for Pereira. To be honest with you. On to the next one. We've got David Mogoyan versus Albert Morales. Oh, Albert. What a name. What a name. But yeah, again, just two guys that are good regionally. So we've got number 3 in California regionally, which actually is pretty good because there's a wealth of talent in America. I know it gets diluted, but being the top of the regional scene, in areas where there's a lot of talent. So like it gets diluted, but if you're the top in California, you know, that either means you're top 3 in California. Obviously, you're doing really well, beating everybody in the California area. It just means how does that translate to, you know, North America? You know what I mean? It's like, all right, well, who's got more talent? It's a weird one. It's a weird one to like compare guys who are like fighting regionally and finally meeting for the first time. But Tapology thinks that David Mogoyan's going to get it done. Let me take a look at their previous fights. Do I recognise anybody? No, not really. Oh, we lost on Contenders. I don't remember you being on Contenders. I mustn't have seen it 8 months ago. That's a shame. That's a shame. So yeah, a UFC reject then. MVP, man, MVP. I wonder how much they're paying them. I kind of lean towards Albert then. Albert Morales, to be honest with you. What's the age difference? Oh, no, to be fair, I can see it now. Yeah, I can see it now. Yeah, I kind of agree then. Yeah, I'm going to go with David Mogoyan to get this one done. I mean, why not, right? Why not? David Mogoyan probably going to get this one done. 8-1's pretty good. I just worry about the experience of Albert Morales. 19, 10, and 1 is a lot of experience, but I could see him. It's a tough one. No, I'm going to go with David Mogoyan. I think realistically what it is would you put it past MVP and Jake Paul to like have someone come in and take a dive? I don't know. But yeah, I want to go David Mogoyan. Either way, I do think he wins this fight. Younger, less damage taken. Obviously not as much as experience, but probably more athletic. Like I say, less damage taken, man. It really does equate. But yeah, so we're going to go with David Mogoyan. Didn't get into the UFC on Contender Series, so now he's lapped around and gone to MVP MMA. On to the next one. We've got Jason Jackson versus Jeff Carrington. As you can see, on an absolute tear. But again, like, what are the, LFA, the biggest promotion we've been to, we're getting decisions. Pretty much we're just a decision merchant. Yeah. You know what? We're gonna go with Jason Jackson. We're gonna go with Jason Jackson from Jamaica by way of Miami, Florida. Uh, oh, we Killcliff FC? Yeah, go on. We'll go with Jason Jackson. Why not? The ass kicking machine. Yeah, no, we're gonna go with Jason Jackson for this one. I think realistically, I like the fact that he's getting finishes. I know we're not, we're comparing apples to oranges here with Bellator and LFA. Are we really though? Actually, and PFL and LFA. I mean, are we really though? Are we really? Are we really though? But yeah, I'm gonna go with Jason Jackson by knockouts. I like the fact that he's at least finished. Like he's getting finished. No, no, wait. There we go. He's getting finishes, or he's going to a decision. Is the way his career seems to go. And Jeff Carrington, Jazzy Jeff. Just isn't. Seems to be a decision merchant. And yeah, if he's a decision merchant like that, I feel like he's going to get caught by Jason Jackson. So we want to go with Jason Jackson by knockout over Jeff Carrington. On to the next one. We've got Adriano Adrian Adriano Moraes versus Fumi Knuta. We're gonna go with Morales over Knuta. It's a good scoop to get though, is Knuta. Oh, he is on a tear as well. He is on a tear. Yeah, but I rate one higher than LFA, if I'm honest with you. I'll watch one FC sometimes. But very rarely will watch. I don't think I've watched LFA in years, I'll be honest with you. But I'll occasionally, I'll be like, oh, one's on, is you know? You know what I mean? Tough one. Very tough one. I feel like isn't one in massive debt now as well? Fuck knows. Anyway, I lean towards Marias. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I lean towards Marias. He's got the physical advantages. He's taller. He's longer. He's a little bit older. To be fair, he is pushing 40. And this is, yeah, but again with decision and everybody. To be fair, and at least we're getting finishes with Marias. If I could say his name. So yeah, I'm gonna go against the grain. I'm gonna go with Marias over Kanuta. But I am liking the. No, you know what? I'm gonna go with a submission for Marias. I'm gonna go with submission by Marias. Well, can't even say my own prediction correctly, but yeah, we'll go with submission for Marias over Fumi Kanuta. It's just I don't like when we're decisioning everybody and we're in like regionals still. Like it's okay, we can do that, but at the same time, I would like to see you take a risk because then if Adriano Moraes goes out there and takes a chance and bings your head, then what was all that dancing around and being careful for in the end anyway? But then it does. You know what? It's fine. It's fine. We're gonna go with Moraes. We're gonna go with submission. We're gonna go with the submission over Fumi Kanuta. Yeah, why not? Why not? Next up, we've got Namo Fazil versus Jake Babian. Babian? What a name, Babian. I don't know Babian. Oh, we're both good though. We're both good. We're both on absolute tears. That's some good experience over in 1FC, to be fair. Oh, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. We've got Fazil as the favourite, to be fair. That is interesting. Last fought 10 months ago. Last fought 7 months ago. Lights out. Not even familiar with lights out. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie to you. No idea. Tapology is favouring Fazil. He's getting good finishes, to be fair. I don't know. So is Babian. Jake the Barbarian Babian. I like that. We've got no age for fucking Babian. What? And we've got no weight for Fazil. and both of them we don't have the gym for. Yeah, fuck it. You know what? I'll just go with what Tapology said. Fazil. Perfect. I'm going to go with Fazil because Tapology said so. Fuck, man. Okay, main card time. This is going to be fun. One of the fights that I'm most excited to see. Junior Dos Santos at the ripe age of 42 versus Rebeles de Spain at the ripe age of 37. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. You know, big losing streak for Junior Dos Santos right there. Big old losing streak. Nearly 50. Well, crossed 40. But, you know, not the best. Not the best record right there. And, you know, Rebeles de Spain, I think, got out while he before it got too bad on the record, you know. I feel like he just got out of there just in time, you know. And in hindsight, you know, losing to Waldo Cortez Acosta, you know, everyone is now. A bunch of people have been getting chinned by him. Except for Volkov. Volkov's not getting chinned by him. But yeah, just how it be. And a loss to Austin Lane also isn't the worst thing in the world. Yeah, you know what? I might go with Rebeles de Spain here. He's the heavy favourite anyway. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of obvious, isn't it, Junior? I just kind of want to see. I just kind of want to see what happens. It's like a morbid curiosity. I guess that's why I'm excited. But yeah, I'm going with Rebeles de Spain. Probably to really hurt Junior Dos Santos. I won't lie. God, 21-10. Jesus. On to the next one. We've got Saladin Paranasse Parmesan. Paranasse? I don't even know how to pronounce that. I'm not even going to try anymore. Versus Kenneth Cross. I kind of feel like I'm going to go with the French guy. Yeah, I'm going with the French guy. Look, we've got a bias against the French over here on this channel. But the thing is that they've got some alright gyms over there these days and whatnot. So yeah, and you know, Europe always beats the US. No, I'm joking. I mean, actually, am I? I feel like when a guy comes from like France or from somewhere random in Europe, they've normally got to be pretty good to get to the UFC. Whereas, well, we're not in the UFC, are we? I suppose that's the main thing. We're not in the UFC. You see, I got caught up in the UFC brain right there. We've got to read. See, look, KSW, not at all. The UFC, not at all. Oh God, tough enough. Oh my God. Okay, yeah, we're gonna go with the Frenchman. I'm not even gonna try and say his name. Yeah, we're gonna go with the guy that was born in France, right there. Going with him, Saladin Paranasse, Parmesani, whatever. Yeah, we're gonna go with him. The French are pretty good, man. I'm not gonna lie. As much as I am biased against them, and I think that, you know, the UK is better, the French are pretty good. So yeah, we're gonna give it to Palm. In fact, what gym does he have his gym listed at least? ATEC Academy. I'm not familiar. Syndicate MMA is pretty good though. Pretty good. Nah. Compared to that, yeah, we're gonna go with a knockout for Parmesan, the Frenchman. Parmesan's not even French. The best part. His name is Parmesan. It's not really. It's Parnasse. Big one. Francis Ngannou versus Felipe Lins. Felipe Lins, pretty good to be fair. Pretty good. Left on a winning record in the UFC. Left the UFC on a winning record. 40 years of age now, but Francis Ngannou, not really that far behind. Only a year off. Also, not lost a fight in a little while. I know you got a boxing match he lost. But yeah, going to be interesting to see. Tough one, man. It's a tough one. It is. It's a tough one for me to pick. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't feel like. I don't feel like Felipe Lins is gonna let Francis Ngannou punch him. And Francis has been doing boxing, you know. He's going through a bit of a financial crisis at the minute, right? Oh no, is he not? I think he's probably not. He probably just robbed everybody, and got away with the money. He's a fair bit bigger, a fair bit longer. is Francis, but I'm just leaning against Francis. Everyone's got him by knockout, but for some reason I'm leaning towards Linz. I've just got this weird feeling that he's gonna just fight a safe fight, and he might even be fucking boring. To be fair, it might even be boring, and the paycheck must be big. Or Linz thinks he can do it, and I feel like in a fight like this where one side's in Ghana, I feel like Linz would be getting the short end of the stick. But then again, Jake Paul likes pretending to make a point like, oh, I'm better than UFC, I'm paying everyone the same, or paying everyone better, or whatever. So, we'll have to wait and see at the time. But yeah, interesting one to see. I'm going to go with Linz. I think he's going to win a decision, to be honest with you. I think Linz is going to win a decision over Ngannou. I think Ngannou might even gas, if I'm honest with you. Yeah, I think Ngannou might even gas after he's forced to grapple after being in boxing for as long as he's been in boxing. But yeah, I really do think that's the method for Linz to win, is to really get some good grappling in there on Francis Ngannou early and tire him out. Let him get up and then drag him back down and make him stand back up again and drag him back down. He needs to do a bit of that to start the fight and kind of take some of the wind out of Francis' sails, if that's even possible for Linz to do. I say Francis has been away boxing for a little bit, but he's not really been doing much for a little bit since boxing. So maybe he has been back on the gym doing some grappling. Who knows? But yeah, I'm going to lean with Felipe Linz. I'm picking Felipe Linz to beat Francis Ngannou by decision, which is crazy to think, but I'm doing it. On to the next one. We've got Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry. Interesting one. I'm probably going to go with Nate Diaz, to be honest. Did I say Nick before? I'm probably going to go with Nate anyway. Even if I did say Nick, I'm going with Nate. How could I not? Mike Perry's good. He is good, but this is an MMA match, and Mike Perry isn't the best at MMA. Mike Perry's really good at bare knuckle. And you know what? Diaz will probably stand and trade with him to a point. Maybe Mike Perry's the guy to knock out Nate Diaz, to be fair. Maybe Mike Perry's the guy to chin Nate Diaz. I just don't feel like he is. Even though Nate's 41. I feel like, all the head trauma's been done now. All the head trauma's been done. Thinking submission. See, I was thinking a Diaz submission, to be honest with you. I feel like what's Perry been up to? Because he's not been doing MMA. I know that much. That's what I'm saying. Look. Bare knuckle. Boxing, bare knuckle. It's... And then look at Jeremy Stephens, who's also just, who's just gotten back into the UFC and has been doing bare knuckle and not been focused on grappling. Like, the easy way to victory for Nate is to just grapple with Perry, and Perry will probably be fairly out of practice and fairly rusty. So I do think there's an easy method of victory for Diaz, and he is the favourite. So yeah, we're going to go with Diaz. I think Diaz by submission over Mike Perry in this one. I think Mike Perry probably needs more time to get back into just MMA. And, I'm saying all this like Diaz has been doing just MMA this whole time, but he hasn't, because he's been, he beats Tony Ferguson, big whoop, and then he goes and does some boxing matches, loses to Jake Paul by a decision, and then beats George Masvidal by decision. So, he too has not been grappling all that much. It might come to be a standing affair, and to be honest with you, if it comes to just a straight-up boxing match, I think Mike Perry might win. But you can't disregard the long reach and the weird style of Nate Diaz. So I'm going to go with Nate Diaz. I'm thinking by a submission. I think if he hits Perry, he'll be able to jump on him and finish him anyway with a submission. So yeah, we're going to go with Nate Diaz over Mike Perry, despite the age disadvantage. And finally, the main event, the big one. Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano. A fight that is just years past its due date. I don't know what to say, man. Fucking Gina Carano's 44. She's in good shape for 44, Ronda Rousey, 39, in good shape for 39. Both girls have been away from combat sports for a good little while now, giving the brains a rest, not that the women hit super hard anyway. Yeah, Ronda Rousey is the favourite. I'm not surprised. Huge favourite. I'm not surprised. I don't know though, I've got a weird feeling about Gina Carano for this one. I really do. I've got a strange feeling about Gina Carano for this one. Like, don't get me wrong. She got chinned by Chris Cyborg 16 years ago. Okay? That's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. However, it's like, that's Chris Cyborg though, and Chris Cyborg, wasn't an ordinary woman, so to speak. Chris Cyborg's a unique individual, we'll say. A unique individual. Definitely on something. We'll just say that. We'll just say something. Like, there's a reason why Dana White said it's Wanderlei Silva and dressing heels, okay? There's a reason why that got said. So, yeah, I don't think... And she's fucking huge. She's fucking huge. She's Chris Cyborg. So, 16 years ago, it's very far removed. Sure, it was a bad loss for Gina Carano. But you've got to take into consideration the fall of Ronda Rousey and the crushing cope that she's had ever since. Like, Gina Carano, she's not coping when she says Chris Cyborg's fucking way bigger. She's not coping when she says Cyborg probably isn't clean shit. Maybe she went clean. But either way, it's not as much as a cope as to be like, oh, I had super bad brain damage and she, you know what? She never gives Amanda Nunes the credit either for beating her. Like, never. Nunes is like actually women's GOAT. Actually, the women's GOAT. You should have come back and fought her, coward. But here we are, 9 years later, 9 years and 4 months later, a stint in the WWE, and here we are on MVP MMA 1. Apparently, they sniped this fight from Dana White himself and managed to get it on this. So, good to see. They just outbid the UFC, which is crazy to think about. But this is what I'm saying. If MVP can outbid the UFC, then what's stopping them from actually competing? Like, they've got a Netflix deal, so they can... Everyone's already paying for Netflix, Everyone's got a Netflix subscription, so they can actually compete. Like, not everyone has a Paramount subscription. Obviously, UFC fans now all have a Paramount subscription. A lot of them have a Paramount subscription. But it's like, everyone has Netflix. Everyone has Netflix. This is going to be a million... Even with UFC getting on Paramount, MVP MMA is going to be 100 times more accessible, and if they can very quickly put together a roster of recognizable names and upcoming talent, they could rival the UFC in a few short years. And with the way the UFC is going, could be the end. Could be the end of the UFC. Could actually be a real competitor, and could even crush the UFC if they play the cards right. It wouldn't be difficult at this point in time. Like, the UFC needs to step up the game immediately. Like, the White House card needs to come and go very quickly, and then they need to be like full steam ahead. Like, how the fuck are we going to combat MVP MMA? Like, we need to get some divisions moving. We need to clear up some of this fucking, oh no, I want to move up, I want to move down, I want to be double, triple, whatever champ. Now we need to stop all this. We need to knuckle down here, guys. You need to fight now, and you need to take on the big fights. No, I'm ducking this guy. That guy's an easier fight. I'm nearly at a title. None of that, you know what I mean? Like, we need to start bullying these fighters again, is what the UFC is going to start doing, if they want to survive. Because I do think MVP could actually crush them in a matter of years, if they play their cards right. They can't be doing stupid shit. Like, how much are they paying them? That's the real question. They can't bankrupt themselves paying these guys. But, if you sign Ronda, Diaz, Perry, fucking Carano, Ngannou, Lins, Santos and Despain, if you sign them all for one fight deals for all those guys, and then all these people that are on the regional scene who are here to build a roster, and they're all in like contracts with exclusivity, you're on your way to building a roster. And all you need to do is keep signing these guys, these legacy fighters, I suppose, and give them a decent paycheck, and you can build a whole roster in a few short years. In fact, in a few short months, realistically. You don't have to be putting a card on every week like the UFC does. Not to start with, anyway. But yeah. Interesting to see. Like, people will watch the UFC and then be like, oh yeah, but MVP's doing a big one in a few weeks. And then you'll go watch it. Everyone will go watch it. And then they'll be like, oh, they're doing 2 this year, 3 this year, 4 this year. Oh god, they're doing it every other month, every other week. Oh my gosh. It could happen very quickly. It really could. Netflix is very accessible, so if they play the cards right, that could be that. But we'll finish off this video with what you want to hear. Who's going to win the fight? I lean towards Gina Carano, I'm not going to lie. I really do. I'm leaning towards Gina Carano. I know she's a lot older than Ronda. I know she's the plus 400 heavy underdog. But I'm just going to be real with you. Ronda's shit. Like Ronda Rousey coming up in the UFC and like making the women, getting the women into the UFC and all that. Like, oh yeah, that was great. But let's just be realistic, yeah? Like, she got bought over from Strikeforce. She became champion over some decent girls. They're not the worst, the worst. They buy UFC buys Strikeforce. She becomes UFC champion, yeah? And then she just kind of fights like meh. Just meh women. And yeah, and she's finishing them all. She is. She's finishing them all quickly and in the first round. Don't get me wrong, she's doing good. But it's like we're fighting girls who've been doing this for a couple of years, like brand new. This division's brand new. The division, the women's division then was like the MVP promotions undercard. You know what I mean? Like all these girls were new. They were fresh. Obviously not like fresh because you can see their records. But it's not like the sport wasn't evolved fully yet, and women weren't doing it properly, and especially not in the UFC on the biggest stage. They weren't there yet, and so Ronda was just the best. She was just a trailblazer. You know, she was just the first to do it. She was just the first with the appropriate skill set to get ahead. And then as soon as she bumped into somebody with an opposing skill set or who was as good as something else as she was at grappling, she got stopped. And then she coped. Then she went against Amanda Nunes, who is, in my opinion, more well-rounded than both Holly Holm and Ronda. And to be honest with you, like rose from that era as like this is what a woman's champ should be. And yeah, and so Amanda Nunes beats Ronda, and you know the dark horse reigns supreme because it was going to be who's going to be the champion, Holly Holm or Ronda Rousey, and then Amanda Nunes just comes in and wipes the floor with the pair of them, and she's the women's goat. So yeah, and you know Gina Carano did a similar thing where she came up just before Ronda, and you know outside of the UFC, you know, Elite XC man, fucking man, they were the days. Yeah, but yeah, you know. In Elite XC, gets to Strikeforce. But yeah, either way, fighting Elite XC, gets the fight with Chris Cyborg, who at the time, Chris Cyborg was the scariest lady in women's MMA, and Gina Carano was doing really well. You know, she was the champ before Ronda. You know, she was a women's MMA person. It's hard to explain, because like. Strikeforce had women's divisions, so there's Strikeforce, and then she goes to Elite XC and she goes on a tear, and everyone was like, yeah, she's really, really good, she's really, really good, and then she comes back to Strikeforce and she gets chinned by Chris Cyborg. Yeah, fair enough though, because Chris Cyborg, like I said, was massive, but and it's a different matchup, you know, and it's 16 years removed, and I don't know how well they've stayed in shape or whatnot, but I lean towards Gina Carano just because of the cope of Ronda. And it's not like Ronda's going to have looked at the loss to Holly Holm or the loss to Amanda Nunes, and she's not going to say to herself, right, there are areas I need to improve on. She said silly things like, oh, I was compromised going in, and oh, it was a 1 in a million. Oh, she got lucky, and I was just about to turn the tables, and oh, I had suffered a head injury, I fell in the shower, and I just carried on because I thought I had so many concussions, and people just told me it was normal. Like, the cope is unreal from Ronda, and I feel like if you're coping this hard, you're just never going to learn. You're just never going to learn. And I feel like with Gina Carano, she got chinned by Chris Cyborg, and that's that. Like, there's no cope there's no cope for fucking 9 years, 10 years behind the loss to Chris Cyborg. Like, Gina Carano may have even just stayed fit the whole time and been focusing on training other people. And when you put time, if you're not like Ronda and you run off to the WWE and you're like a Gina Carano, maybe you put a bit of time into growing like a gym and working in a gym and whatnot, you know? Yeah, it'd be an interesting one to see. It'll be an interesting one to see. But you know what? Despite her being the massive underdog, I'm leaning towards Gina Carano. I don't think Ronda Rousey was ever that good. And I am aware that Gina Carano came up in an even weaker era. I understand that. But I think that Ronda Rousey was just good for the time. Like, was just in that specific moment, in that specific, like, was it 6 fights? 8 fights? in that specific 6-fight span, well, I suppose it's 7. But yeah, in that specific span, I don't think she was fighting the best of the best, realistically. Like, I think she was fighting, like, some of the better girls, but they didn't go on to be the best of the best. And the girls that went on to do well, the girls that went on to actually do well, like a Holly Holm for a little while, and especially an Amanda Nunes, were the ones that beat her. So I don't know. It's interesting, but I'm gonna go. I'm going with the underdog for this one, the massive underdog for this one. And I'm gonna go with Gina Carano. Honestly, I think it goes to a decision. I really, really do. I think it goes to a decision. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Gina Carano to beat Ronda Rousey by decision. And I seriously hope we get a mountain of cope from Ronda, like, oh, the brain damage was just too much or some shit like that after not getting hit and just getting out grappled or something crazy. But yeah, I think that concludes our very first MVP MMA 1, Rousey versus Carano. It could be something. It could turn into something if they play the cards right, but we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? We'll just have to wait and see. But until next time, keep your chin down and keep swinging. Peace and love. I'll see you around.